Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of our shooting program. We're so glad to have you with us today. We have a great show for you. Today is sort of a rainy late afternoon here in northwest Louisiana. The temperature is just right, and maybe we can get some things done before the rain starts. We're going to start today's program with a Browning 25-06. This is an A-bolt loaned to us by our good friends over at Britton's in Shreveport. And friends, I tell you what, we do have some great information for you, because you need to know what's going on regarding these firearms. All the new viewers need to understand our viewpoint as gun owners. So it is so important, and we hope you stay with us. We have an exciting hour for you. Well, let's get another shooting show underway. For those people who would wonder what a 25-06 bullet will do at 100 yards or how much energy it'll retain, well, let's shoot this water bottle out here with our 25-06. I'd say it was rather dramatic effect. Just kind of blew it up. I tell you what, friends, this Browning A-bolt is a very nice package. And I tell you what, some of you may not be familiar with the 25-06 cartridge, but it's been around for a long time. It was originally a Wildcat cartridge that someone took a 30-06 case and necked down and said, you know, we could really get some high velocities out of a smaller bullet. Well, rather than having an ultralight 30 caliber bullet to get better sectional density, to get better flight characteristics from the bullet, they went down in caliber and made a longer bullet. So commonly what's encountered are bullets of 85, 100, and about 120 grains. Now the 25-06 is a very potent caliber. This is a water bottle that we shot out here at 100 yards with a high velocity handgun bullet, I believe, something like that. And here's the shot we made on the water bottle with the 25-06. It literally, now no, this is not scientific, no, but I tell you what, it is an indication. It literally just blew the jug all apart there. All that energy being transferred, and these are very powerful cartridges. You do have a lot of muzzle energy because you have so much velocity. What interested me, looking at the loading tables, you can take a 120 grain bullet goes about as fast in a 25-06 as a 150 or so grain bullet does in a 7mm Magnum. So that's pretty doggone sporty. No one has ever accused a 7mm Magnum of being a lightweight, and you do get the benefits out with the high velocity of a flat trajectory. You get a faster flight time. And that flat trajectory means that you don't have to have as much holdover out at 200 and even 300 yards. This is a gun that is probably, the 25-06 caliber is, I suppose, about the largest caliber we would think of that people would use on varmints. This is a superior coyote gun out at a couple of 300 yards. If, of course, the thing is, you've got to still be able to shoot the gun to hit anything out at 300 yards. We hear, and I've read about 400 and 500 yard shots, and there are those out there. I'm sure there's some people in our audience that are capable of making those shots, but trust me on this one, 300 yards is a long way to shoot anything. And you know, the key to getting a game animal, one, a quick and decent kill on a game animal, you got to hit them in the right place. So a lot of those folks around the gun shops or the Saturday night campfires that say, yeah, I was out there 500 yards or so, and I nailed him out there. Well, no, a lot of them are kidding each other and themselves, because anytime you get past 250, 300 yards, you start talking long shots. And even with a good scope, the problem is your body movement, your heartbeat and all, it's very difficult to make those longer shots. Now, with practice, it certainly can be done. But what we have to think about is a good chance that we as the individual, the hunter, that's you and me, of cleanly getting a game animal. Because friends, if you're not sure that you can cleanly take a game animal, the animal deserves better than that. They don't deserve to be wounded and let them run off. If you got a shot off out here somewhere, and you might say, well, it's a long way, but I believe I might be able to hit that deer / coyote / whatever else. No, don't take the shot. It's not fair, because there's just no use in letting a game animal, whatever it is, just suffer and die. There's no need in that. We have enough problems with the animal rights people already, and we need to be respectful of the animal that we're hunting. Anyway, the 25-06 is about the largest cartridge that will sometimes be used for varmint. This is an excellent cartridge for pronghorn antelope, for a medium game, I guess we'd say. When you get into animals the size of elk, the larger mule deer and things, I don't think 25-06 is enough. Undoubtedly, there are people out there that have taken them, but let's use enough gun. That's what the old boy from Africa said, always use enough gun. That was another something that Elmer Keith used to say. And you know, there's no need. You don't use your personal car as a dump truck. You know, you don't use your, a car does not make a good pickup truck. So why try and make it into one when it's not? You'll just be disappointed and you'll tear up your car. So use the proper tool for the job. However, the 25-06 is an excellent tool within its design limits, with the excellent bullets like from Nosler, the Nosler Partition, and there are some other good bullets out there. You can take the larger medium-sized game. This is a terrific deer cartridge with proper bullets. With the lighter 85 grain varmint bullets, 3,200 feet per second, you're going to risk a blow-up if you shot something like a deer, because literally the bullet would expand so rapidly, it would transfer its energy so rapidly it just may blow up and not go on and penetrate through the animal's vitals to take it. So the key with a gun like this is using the proper bullet for the game. Now for armadillos and coyotes, an 85 grain bullet would be outstanding. For rock chuck, something like that, that you have to deliver a good bit of power on way out there, yes. Some people might call the 25-06 sort of a 243 Magnum, because it will run weights that are similar to the 243 and 6mm Remington. It will run them faster on no more pressure. Well, let me put my glasses on here. Let's go ahead and load up one. One of the advantages that a 25-06 has for, yeah, it's trying to rain out here a little bit, see what we can get done. You have very low recoil for the power the gun has. Now, you certainly have more than, say, a 223 or something like that. You certainly have more recoil, but it's just not objectionable at all. Put my glasses on. And you know, friends, when we're out here shooting and testing, we just don't make exceptions. We always shoot with eye and ear protection. Watch my shoulder, and also watch the energy transfer to this water bottle. So watch the recoil that it imparts to my shoulder as we shoot this water bottle out here. Of course, it's a fine spray. You'll notice just very little recoil at all. This would be an excellent gun for someone that is recoil sensitive, who still wants to hunt. There are older people that have arthritis in their shoulders, and they can't take the pounding, say, from a 7 mag or 30-06, but they like that long distance capability or the flat trajectory. The 25-06 would really be a good choice for that. For a lot of women shooters, and yes, we have more and more women that are shooting rifles and finding out what a great sport hunting is, in fact. And we talk to more of them every week. And they're going out in the woods, and doggone it, they want to get their deer, and they don't want the deer to run off. They want something that will make them stop. And that's another choice or use that the 25-06 would have. It's an excellent gun for new shooters that want to go out with a bigger game rifle, and an excellent choice for women or people of smaller stature that just can't handle recoil, or older people that cannot handle recoil. Well, let's look at some other things. In fact, why don't we do this? Before we take a close-up look at the gun, let's go on out to 100 yards and let's take some shots with it. Let's shoot some groups and let's see what it'll do. Now, this Browning does not have a heavy barrel, and this is one of the reasons I prefer on sporting rifles like this. I certainly prefer 3-shot groups, but it is a very nicely finished, a very a solid and sound action. Now, these guns are made in Japan, but a lot of other good stuff's made in Japan too. Browning has a reputation for a very fine fit and finish on all their products. They also have a reputation for reliability on most of their products. They really do. These guns have acquired a pretty good reputation as far as accuracy, so let's go up and see what it'll do. Now, friends, our Browning has showed that it looks like it's going to be pretty accurate. This is a nice smooth action on this gun. The trigger on this particular gun is adjusted down, and I don't know if a gunsmith did it, I don't know if an individual did it. This particular gun, the trigger let off is actually just a little bit over a pound. Well, for me, that's too light. I think that now someone may have used this as a varmint gun, maybe so, but a 1 pound let off to me is just too light for a gun you're going to take in the woods with you. I'd prefer 2.5, 3 pounds with a crisp trigger break there. But whoever had this gun definitely had it down light, because a pound is not very much. Now you'll notice we're going to shoot the gun, of course, out here at 100 yards. We're going to use our double sandbag rest. Now, a double sandbag rest, one, it lets the gun become completely stable. There are advantages. A lot of people shoot from a rest or a bipod or whatever, but when you have the back also on a sandbag, it really gives you a chance to see what the gun will do. Well, let's go ahead and shoot a couple of groups out here. And I'll tell you what, we're in sort of low light conditions, as you can tell, but it's good to shoot your gun under conditions like this occasionally, because a lot of hunting situations are going to be late in the afternoon or early in the morning, and this may be even now maybe more light than you have. So it's really a good idea to get out under all kinds of conditions that you may be shooting under and see what you can do with your gun. What you may do on a bright sunshiny day may be different on a dark and cloudy day, such as today. So let's go ahead and let's shoot a couple of 3-shot groups. Most of you know that I prefer a 3-shot group because, one, that's about 2 more than will ever be shot on a game animal. Certainly the best shot you'll have will be that first one. And some people like 5-shot groups. I prefer 3 because I think it gives a truer estimate of what the gun will do. That 25-06 cartridge has a lot of gunpowder there, and these barrels do heat up. So that's my own feeling. Some of you, heck, you can shoot whatever you want to. You can shoot a 50-shot group if you want to, but it's going to be a little bigger than that 3-shot group. Anyway, let's go ahead and do that now. And I like a standing rest. Now, this is just me. Again, I'll do that, and I'll talk about that. Because I like something where I can get comfortable and stand. One, if I'm standing, especially under higher powered rifles, and sometimes we do shoot some boomers out here, and it gives you a little more give if you are standing up. You still get the benefit of the solid rest, but for those of you who have shot anything from a 7-mag up from a bench rest sitting down, it's not the most pleasant experience, because your shoulder just doesn't have anywhere to go because you're seated solidly. So I personally like a standing bench rest. This is just me. Again, some of you out there will have different opinions, and that's fine. You're certainly entitled to them. All right, let's go ahead and do this. And remember, friends, even though you don't see my earmuffs on, I always wear hearing protection. As much as we do shoot guns, if I didn't use hearing protection all the time, I'd be completely deaf, and my hearing is something that's very important to me. So let's go ahead and do this. Get our glasses in place. Go ahead and load our gun and get settled in. And get calm. Don't be out of breath. Just have a real calm approach to it, and get settled and get comfortable. Get the crosshairs lined up, or sights, whichever, and gently, yes. Well, that one looked pretty good. And we'll shoot a couple of 3-shot groups.
Don't go away. The Shootin' Show will be right back after these very important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, it's rare in any field of manufacture that one particular company has a clear-cut advantage over the others. Well, in this case, it's Corbin Ammunition, Corbin Bullet Company, because they make the best handgun, long gun, and even some specialty caliber ammunition that's been real hard to get in the past. If you really want your handgun or rifle to perform at their absolute best, you need to find some Corbin ammunition. For information on where you can get Corbin, information on their product line, call them. Corbin Bullet Company, 1-800-626-7266. Again, give them a call. It's a free call, 1-800-626-7266. Trust me on this one. Corbin is the best there is.
If you are a boater or a birder, if you ever carry a camera, Bi-Tote is for you. It is the most comfortable binocular and camera carrier on the market today. And its all-elastic quick change feature makes it possible to switch from one piece of equipment to another without missing a beat. If you think that carrying binoculars or cameras is a pain in the neck, try Bi-Tote. For the first time, your equipment will feel almost weightless, and you'll be free of that annoying swinging and bouncing which is hard on your body as well as the equipment, especially when you're negotiating rough terrain or on a pitching boat. One hand for you, one hand for the boat, and Bi-Tote for your binoculars or camera. They'll be ready for you instantly, held firmly in position. They're always there, not buried in a locker or other out-of-the-way place. And the Bi-Tote is totally adjustable for a custom fit. All necessary adapters and complete instructions are included with your Bi-Tote. How did you ever get along without it?
Well, friends, we've got several groups here that we shot. The first group went 3 shots in 1.75 inches. Of course, we have our caliper here. And what I do is I measure from the center of each hole to the center of the furthest hole away. Now, this group is pretty good. It's a 1-inch group, and then we have another one here that went 1.25 inches. So that's pretty accurate. The Brownings are known. It has a slim barrel. Of course, the 25-06 is can be a very, very accurate rifle caliber. Maybe a better shooter would have done better than this, but for yours truly, which is, I suppose, an average to a little above average shot, mainly because I do it a little more than the average person. I would think that probably 1.25 inches would be an average group. Now, this is with Remington ammunition, and friends, you know that just by a change of brand ammunition with another manufacturer's brand, it may be tighter, it may be bigger, but I think that's a pretty good estimate. Most of the people I talk to that have the Browning A-bolts feel like that's pretty good. And you know, friends, anytime you get a factory rifle that will shoot under 1.5 inches for 3 shots at 100 yards, well, that's pretty good, because that's about as good as most of them guarantee anyway. Now, friends, you can tell this Browning is very nicely finished, typical of their work, and we see a fluted type bolt and a very low bolt lift. It'll clear about any scope you could put on it. I think it's about a 60-degree or so bolt lift. It has a similar, let's see if we can get around and see this. The bolt itself sort of reminds me of the Remington. The extractor there is completely, everything's enclosed inside the bolt head there, and it's a ring of steel when it goes into the action. Very nicely done. This is your takedown lever to pull the bolt out. Very, very nice package. Now, friends, to unload the gun, it has a box-type magazine that is on a hinge piece here that snaps at the base of the trigger guard, and you can just load or unload the gun very simply out of the magazine by just flipping this out. I like the detachable magazine type rifles. Just snaps in place. Needless to say, friends, I am impressed with this Browning. I haven't shot that many or handled that many of these Browning bolt-action rifles, but this one is a nice gun. It is certainly acceptably accurate. And as I said earlier, the trigger on this particular gun is a little bit light for me. I just don't trust a 1-pound trigger. And really, we ought to remember that when we're getting the triggers down to the lighter weights like this, that would be fine for a target gun, maybe. But if you're getting up in a tree stand or something and you forgot to unload your gun, you had it on safety and you dropped it, it might come off safety. I don't know. I really don't know, because I'm not going to drop this gun to find out. But to me, 1 pound is just too doggone light. A good trigger of 2.5, 3 pounds, I think, is just fine on any sort of hunting gun. And that's what this gun would primarily be, is a hunting type rifle. Well, another advantage the 25-06 has, because it is a lower recoiling cartridge, you can get off fast follow-up shots. You actually can. So the A-bolt from Browning, loaned to us by our good friends at Britton's in Shreveport, definitely gets a good passing grade from us. Be a nice rifle to own.
You know, Catherine, the response on our health club has been so terrific. Did you know that 95% of all diets fail? Did you know that?
No.
Well, not a lot of people do. Also, did you know that 63% of the American public are not at their proper weight?
That I didn't know.
No. In fact, I never even thought about it until I read these statistics. Friends, our weight management program through our health club is one of the most terrific things that I have ever seen, because this gives someone the ability to lose the extra weight if you need to. And hey, I'm one of them. I'm still working on it. In fact, you reminded me the other day that I still need a little work on my weight, and it's true, because I'm not quite where I want to be, but you know, I'm going to get there. And the good news is I'm going to stay there, because our weight management program will help me do this. This is the first diet. It's really not a diet, it's a management program. It's the first arrangement I've had to really lose weight where I felt good, I had more energy than I've ever had in my life. I really have enjoyed, you know, you get plenty to eat, but you don't gain that weight. And the most important thing is you don't gain it back. Friends, if you're interested in, maybe you don't want to lose a lot of weight, you just want to trim down to whatever level you feel good at, because it's so much nicer when you feel good in the clothes you're wearing. When, you know, it's also better for your blood pressure, for your heart, for your joints, every part of your body, for you not to be overweight. Friends, we can help. This is one of the most important things that we've offered on this show. The Health Club is doing great. It certainly helps our program, but more than that, it will help you. If you're interested in our weight management program, give us a call, 1-800-728-8486, and hey, let's get this underway. You know, certainly, wouldn't this be a great Christmas gift to be down those sizes in a dress or pants or a shirt or whatever else you want?
Yes.
Be a great gift for anybody. So, hey, let's get underway now. Don't put this off. For Health Club information, give us a call, 1-800-895-7916. Leave your name, address, and phone number. Someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Friends, this is such a wonderful thing. Do it for yourselves today. Well, friends, we hope you're enjoying our program. We're certainly enjoying bringing it to you. My esteemed colleague here, Leroy Scott, and I were sitting here talking about all sorts of things. In fact, sir, do you have a thought for the day?
Well, I have several thoughts for the day, Johnny. Here's one that I have posted in my office that I thought was good. It's titled, Press On. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. I think that's a good thought.
Sir, I'd say that is a terrific thought. That is one of the best ways. And speaking of that, I mean, that's how we're on the air today, because of press on, press on, press
Persistence.
on.
That is the living truth, Johnny. That is the living truth. I have a fact from NRA. The Institute for Legislative Action came in yesterday, late last night, talking about Waco. 2 days of hearings by the Senate Judiciary Committee concluded last Wednesday with the heads of BATF and the FBI claiming that they fixed the problems that led to those disasters, or that disaster, and of course the Ruby Ridge disaster too. However, there's a Professor James Fife of Temple University that is somewhat unconvinced still. He says there is no FBI to investigate the FBI.
Isn't that the truth?
There's no Justice Department to investigate the Justice Department. And he thinks that the Clinton administration should create an independent citizen advisory council to review incidents like Waco and Ruby Ridge. Among other suggestions were increased training for agents in behavioral science, the adoption of stricter guidelines for the use of military-style tactics, which, according to Judiciary Committee Chairman Senator Orrin Hatch, he said they should be used only as a last resort. Shouldn't be used at all within the United States against citizens of this country. That's my words. The Anti-Gun Violence Center trotted out their latest trick to derail the right to carry movement that's sweeping the country. Incidentally, we've got an election in Louisiana the week after you see this, or maybe the week that you see this. State Senator Foster, who sponsored a statewide right to carry bill. We already have a parish-wide right
County-wide, to those of you in other states.
But he was making it statewide. Governor Edwards vetoed it, despite the fact that he has a gun collection of over 250 guns. And of course, he's protected by the state police always, even after he leaves office. Senator Foster is heavily favored by about at least a 60-40 percentage to win the governorship against liberal Democrat Congressman Cleo Fields. Foster has refused to do any more debates or hour-long debates on public television with Cleo, because he said Cleo has injected the race issue into the campaign by trying to use some praise words that David Duke gave and convert them into an endorsement of Foster, which was not what it was. Duke simply said that Foster's positions seemed to be much more conservative than Cleo Fields. Well, of course they are. Cleo has a zero Americans for Conservative Union, the American Conservative Union, I think is the name of it, voting record in Congress, and a 100% American Civil Liberties Union, which is a very notoriously liberal organization. Now, incidentally, that doesn't mean everything they support is wrong, but it also means that they support a lot of things that are way out. Anyhow, we've got this election coming up, and any of our viewers in Louisiana are urged, please remember to go to the polls. Foster is pro-gun. Cleo Fields is vehemently anti-gun. He has when he was in the Louisiana legislature, Louisiana Senate, he sponsored some vicious bills that we managed to get shot down in committee, in the House committee. This latest movement to try to split up the right to carry movement claims that Florida's carry law has put guns into the hands of criminals and thereby should not be used as a model for other states. But Florida's top policeman, top law enforcement officer, James T. Moore, says that's not true. He said, quote, "From a law enforcement perspective, this has not resulted in problems from people arming themselves with concealed weapons. In fact, since adopting the carry law in 1987, Florida's handgun homicide rate has dropped 29%, while nationwide the handgun homicide rate has increased. Overall, states with Florida-style carry laws have handgun homicide rates that are 41% lower than other states. We're still fiddling around with the Istook Amendment. The Istook Amendment is an NRA-backed provision that stops grants from organizations that use the money to lobby Congress. If you're going to lobby Congress, do it with your own money. Don't get a grant from Congress and thereby free up some of your other funds and then lobby Congress, among other things, for more money, and also, among other things, for gun control laws.
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. know, Carrie, I think it's as important for you ladies to know how to use these firearms as it is for us men. But you know, there's something else. We can have firearms for defense of our homes and certainly for sport, but we also need information.
Yes, I agree. I think the New American Magazine is the best source of information available in this country.
Well, I would certainly agree. The New American Magazine is the truth and nothing but the truth. And friends, if you would like to know what is really going on in this country and around the world, if you want, in fact, the truth, well, you need to get the New American Magazine. So here's how to do it. You can get the New American by calling 1-800-727-TRUE, and those numbers, of course, are 1-800-727-8783. The New American, $22 for a 6-month subscription. It comes twice a month. Now, friends, with your new Shootin' Show subscription, they will also send you a free copy of what the United Nations is bringing to all of us. So this is very important. Subscribe today. You know, friends, in times like these, which indeed are strange times, we certainly need our firearms, but we also need the information about what's really going on. Order today. You know, Catherine, for people that would like back issues of the New American on particular subjects such as the police state issue and the United Nations issue, they do have reprints available, and they do have some bulk for numbers, I suppose, bulk pricing. Now, you can get these back issues by calling area 414-749-3784. You might get a pencil. Area 414-749-3784. You can fax them at 414-749-3785 for back issues of the New American.
Johnny, why don't you tell them how to get a gift subscription?
Well, that's true. They are making a special gift subscription available. You can give someone a year subscription to the New American for the regular price of $39, but the first one is $39, and then each additional subscription is only $29. And again, you need to give them a call at, now on the 800 number that we use in our other pieces on New American, this is a different offer. So you can phone area 414-749-3784 and ask about the gift subscription. And honestly, I can't think of a nicer gift that you might want to give someone else in your family. You might want to give your neighbors, your friends. If you have maybe a good liberal friend of yours who really needs their eyes open, don't you think that's a good idea? Give them a gift subscription to the New American because, hey, you can help them. I mean, absolutely. Just tell them the truth. Again, that number for the gift subscription, $39 for 1 year gift subscription, area 414-749-3784, and each additional gift subscription you give will be only $29. That's for an entire year. So this is a great offer from the New American.
Virginia, Kentucky, New Jersey, and Mississippi. Probably by the time you see this show, those will have already been shown. The American Association of Retired Persons is, and the AFL-CIO continue to receive your money and continue to lobby against you. The Maryland Commission on Handgun Violence has come up with some crazy suggestions. They want another gun ban, establish a gun rationing system, require training and licensing for the purchase of handguns and ammunition, require that all private handgun transfers go through licensed dealers, and repeal the state's firearms preemption law. Members in Maryland, you're all in bad shape if you don't do something about this. You need to contact your senators, you need to contact your representatives, you need to contact your governor. And there is, incidentally, in Maryland, a grassroots seminar on Saturday, November the 11th. That's probably next week, and you probably will have already seen this show by that time. But if not, then you need to go to that grassroots seminar because it tells you something about how you can affect elections. I guess a lot of you people think that I'm hepped on the subject of politics, and I am, because that is the arena in which these things are decided. And we are notorious about not voting. We go deer hunting, we go trap shooting, we go target shooting, or we go out with our wives and children instead of going to the polls and voting. I'm going to vote Monday. The election in Louisiana is a couple of weeks off, but absentee voting starts Monday. And I'm going to be out of the parish for at least a while that day, which gives me the right to absentee vote. And I'm going to vote Monday. You know why, Johnny?
Why is that, Judge?
I might die between then and the election, and I want, by golly, my vote to count.
It's humorous you saying it like that, but you know, if the point you're making is so important, if we can drive anything home about the importance, friends, this is why we're in the mess we're in today with our government. Enough responsible and decent people have not taken part. Typically, we as conservative types mostly want to be left alone. Well, the socialists, the ultra-liberals, the people who like being involved with government, they want government in their lives, they like being involved in government, and that's how they've gotten all these ludicrous things done, just like in Maryland. Friends, we're seeing in survey after survey after survey all over this country that gun ownership and the bearing of arms, certainly in where decent people are concerned, lowers the crime rate without exception. Without exception, crimes always go down. You know, a couple of days ago, a young lady who helps us on the project told us about a carjacking that she was involved in some time ago, and she and a friend of hers rolled up at a stop sign or a stop light, traffic light, and they were set upon by some criminal types, got in the car. She was lucky enough to escape unharmed, but her friend was brutalized. And if they had had a handgun in the car with them, the chances are about 1,000 to 1 that they could have stopped that crime, even apprehended the criminal. And we see example after example of where the armed citizen can take care of their own problems.
Hand me that gun over there, Johnny. I'll show you something.
Okay.
This happened to Jim Clark once upon a time, years ago.
And we will.
Somebody was...
we know it's empty. We know, in fact, it's empty. Yes, sir.
Somebody didn't like the way he was driving and threatened to get out and came up to his window and threatened to pull him out of the car and whip him. And Jim just put his .45 automatic across his arm at the window like this. Guy looks at it. He says, "So that's the way it is."
Well,
and Jim said, "Well, that's the way it is." He turned around and walked away. Now, there was violence that was prevented by the presence of a handgun.
And I'm sure that the only way, and of course you can't just flash your gun, you can't threaten someone with a gun, or you can be carried to jail too. But if your life is threatened, if you're in danger, if you're a woman or if you're just a regular citizen who's confronted in a life and death situation, you darn sure have the right to brandish or whatever else.
You didn't see a television show on what was the name of the program I told you about?
48 Hours.
48 Hours, that's right. And who was on it?
Well, Dan Rather was on it. And
Dan Rather.
And we normally think of CBS as Communist Broadcasting Company. I heard that said. I didn't say that. Somebody said that, and I said, oh, no, of course not.
Well, Dan Rather has not been one of our friends.
CBS has not been a friend of gun owners.
But that 48 Hours program was really good. It was on concealed carry, and I must say that I didn't see a single anti-gun statement in it. They even had some pictures of a gun show without nasty remarks. They had several examples of people who had defended themselves with firearms, and one very tragic example of a child that had simply not been properly educated, 14-year-old girl, told her father she was going to spend the night out with some friends, and he checked and found out that's where she was staying. And instead she sneaked back home and into the house and hid in a closet. And in the middle of the night, his wife heard a noise in the closet. Well, he knew where his daughter was. He knew where his wife was. So he picked up a handgun and walked over and jerked open the closet, and she jumped out saying, "Boo!" And he just reflexively shot her and killed her. Now that's a shame, but my goodness, I know from my own experience with my own family, that thing doesn't have to happen. Years ago, when my daughter was about 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that, she used to get up and walk around at night. And I heard a little noise out in the hall one night, and I thought it was probably Rebecca, but I wasn't going to take a chance on it. I reached under the box springs and mattress and slid out a revolver. And I was going to be prepared to meet a challenge if the challenge was was the wrong way. My daughter heard that little sliding noise, and I heard a little voice from the hall saying, "It's me, Daddy."
Well, at that time, you knew that there was no action that was going to be required. You can teach children about the necessity of care on firearms, and you can teach younger people, all members of the family, about how to deal with guns in the home. You know, there, like this accident you were, and it was an accidental shooting when this man did, when his daughter jumped out of the closet. But there are accidents with cars. In fact, for the numbers of firearms that are in the society, that are in people's homes, the numbers of accidental shootings is very, very low.
As a matter of fact, John Stossel had a excerpt on that on one of the TV specials, and it was, "Are we scaring ourselves to death?"
Mm-hmm. Well,
and it was an excellent presentation, and showed that gun accidents were way down the list.
Among the lowest accidents of anything. In fact, you're more likely to be injured by your doctor. We saw some figures this week than you are in a firearms accident.
That showed up in that
Sure did.
special too.
So, friends, there are reasons that we have these guns, and I tell you what, the anti-gun people, the people that want to control us in our government, and it is our government, and we need to take our government back, and we've got to do that by putting in some decent people.
Well, on a second occasion, after my daughter was married, she and her husband and my wife and I went on a camping trip with them. We were in one of these tent-type campers that fold out. You know, I'm a retired military, Navy, and I had leased it from one of the military bases to use for a week. And we were camping out in Colorado. I think it was at Basalt, at a campground. And Rebecca got up in the middle of the night and went to the restroom at the campground. She never has been very happy about porta potties. She went to the restroom, and when she came back to the camper, she knocked on the door.
Rather than just came barging in.
That's right. She let
you and her husband, everyone else, know that she was out there.
That's right.
There.
She knew.
So you wouldn't be unduly surprised. Well, friends, as we were saying, it is so reasonable to have firearms in the home. If people understand what they're for, if children, if young adults, if everyone who is going to be exposed to those guns understands how they're used and how they work and what they're for, certainly the firearm is what ensures our personal freedom in our own homes.
Well, I certainly taught my children about guns as they were growing up, and I let them shoot whatever they thought they were big enough to do, and that relieved the curiosity about it. And gosh, I remember my daughter, when she was about maybe 10 years old, went out with me and one of her, quote, boyfriends to do some target shooting, and she outshot him. He was mortified, absolutely mortified. He just about quit seeing her after that.
But you know, that which is another point. These women are capable of learning how to use these firearms very, very well. And we encourage that. That's why we're doing more things as we can for the women viewers. We have a tremendous number of women that do watch this program, and we want you to know we appreciate every one of you, and we're going to do what we can for you. Anything else, sir?
No, I don't think so, Johnny. Just for heaven's sakes, if you're not registered to vote, register. Get your neighbors to register. And remember, don't just vote just for the hell of it. Excuse the French. Get out and vote, and vote right. And if you've got neighbors that won't vote right, don't encourage them to vote. Encourage them to go hunting or fishing or go to a movie or do anything besides vote. I'm not one of these people that believes that it doesn't matter how you vote, just vote. I think it matters a great deal how you vote. And the future of our country may very well depend on how you vote.
Well said, sir.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Take your hands off that gun, bow, or fishing rod. Holding onto your equipment while you're going through the woods or climbing a hill is fatiguing and possibly dangerous. The versatile Tri-Tote all-season carrier is easy to use. You never have to drill a hole in your fine gun stock. And the Tri-Tote can be set up for your specific needs in a jiffy. Just follow the illustrated instructions and free demo video enclosed. There you are, hands-free, yet ready to shoot in an instant. Hunting and fishing have never been more enjoyable. With Tri-Tote, your equipment is secure and your hands are free to support yourself or carry other gear. How did you ever get along without Tri-Tote? Make this year's hunting and fishing the best ever. To order your Tri-Tote at this special TV price, call toll-free 1-800-231-1443. That's 1-800-231-1443.
You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today.
When a cartridge weapon is discharged, a number of forces are generated and a great deal of energy is released. The idea of using these forces or the energy in order to cycle the weapon surfaced in the 1880s. Though many people worked on putting this idea to use, such as McLean, Lewis, and Hotchkiss, I would like to concentrate on 2 major contributors whose designs made a mark on the course of warfare. These are Hiram Maxim and John Browning. Maxim harnessed the recoil forces generated upon discharge in order to cycle the weapon. By the 1880s, he had some practical designs. Though they worked reasonably well, his automatic weapons became what we understand to be a machine gun only after the introduction of smokeless powder and jacketed bullets. You have seen these developments in a previous tape. By 1893, Maxim was selling perfectly functional machine guns. Among their first recorded uses was action in the Matabele War of that same year. The painting Brave Men depicts the death of Alan Wilson's Shangani Patrol. The patrol was an advance element of Forbes's mobile column. After the Nabili had annihilated Wilson, their 7,000-man army advanced on Forbes, who credited his salvation to the Maxim machine gun. Maxim worked at refining his designs, and by 1908, the Maxim machine gun had been adopted by Germany and was made under license there. The same weapon was adopted and manufactured in England, where it was known as the Vickers. John Moses Browning had been working on another method of cycling an automatic weapon using the very same gases which propelled the projectile. His first workable designs were made by Colt Marlin and used in the Spanish-American War. When the bullet passed a hole or gas port located underneath the barrel, gas escaped and pressed on a lever. The lever rode all the way back and then was pushed forward by a spring, thereby completely cycling the weapon. For obvious reasons, this gun was nicknamed the Potato Digger. As war clouds loomed, Browning quickly branched aside and designed a machine gun using Maxim's short recoil idea, since short recoil was a good bit more compatible with water cooling. Without getting into French or Austrian variations, you can safely assume that every major combatant in World War I entered the war with a machine gun. The capabilities of all of them were quite similar. I will use this Browning 1917 water-cooled as a good example. Most of these weapons fed from a belt. As the belt was pulled through the machine gun by these feed pawls, individual rounds were pulled back out of the belt and then positioned on the bolt so that they would be next in line for chambering and firing. The Browning and the Maxim worked on the short recoil principle. In this method, the barrel, bolt, and barrel extension remain locked together after discharge and travel a short distance to the rear. After the bullet exits the barrel, the bolt then unlocks, sliding independently to the rear. The bolt comes back far enough so that the old cartridge case is extracted and ejected and a new cartridge is placed in position. The bolt then travels forward, chambering the cartridge, and fires again as long as the trigger is held down. The Maxim, Browning, and many others were water-cooled. The barrel was surrounded by a water jacket holding approximately 5 quarts of water. After 600 rounds of continuous fire, the water would be brought to a boil and steam would exit through a steam bleed-over valve down through this hose into a condenser bucket. The second assistant gunner kept refilling the jacket as water would boil away at the rate of 1 quart for every 250 rounds. Though the water did boil away, it was recovered in the condenser bucket. It also stabilized the operating temperature of the weapon and allowed continuous, sustained fire. All of these weapons were extremely accurate and fired their rounds into a very small group, which, in machine gun terminology, is called the beaten zone. As an assist, they were equipped with a micrometer traversing and elevating mechanism so as to enhance their long-range accuracy. They also were chambered for the full-powered rifle cartridges of the nations involved, such as the 30-06 or 8mm Mauser. Let's see what this Browning can do. In its first target run, you'll see a silhouette target on top of a 4x4 fence post and 2 real sly buggers hiding behind a cinder block wall. That's pretty impressive. The Browning fired such a small group that it had no problem cutting down the 4x4 post in short order. Both the wall and the 2 guys hiding behind it took a severe drubbing. This latter target illustrates a point. A wall, unless it is solid masonry, is no real protection against small arms fire from full-powered rifle cartridges. Next, we'll engage a group of targets in the open using the traversing and elevating mechanism and a final assault of targets on line. See if you can spot some advantages and disadvantages of the water-cooled.